Hey guys, I'm George, the nice medic gentleman, and it's time for your daily dose of some fragrance content. In today's video, I'm going to try to quickly cover the whole raw blend line from the brand of French Avenue and try to help you choose the right one for you. Originally, when Fragrance World and French Avenue released the raw blend line, it had two fragrances, the OG Raw Blend and Raw Blend Nero. And for about an year, these were the two only available fragrances in this line. But just recently, in the past few months, French Avenue actually released two new fragrances in this line, Raw Blend Vintage and Raw Blend Bourbon. So today's video is going to be not so much a review of all those four fragrances because I've covered them in their own right, in their own review videos. Today I'm going to try to quickly get you familiar with the scent profile of all four fragrances. I'm going to try to help you choose the right one for you if you don't already own any of them. And at the end of the video, I'm going to rank them based on how much I actually enjoy each and every one of them. The first two that I'm going to talk about will be the two original fragrances in this line, which are called again Raw Blend and Raw Blend Nero. Now, Raw Blend to this day remains a fantastic clone of Kilian's Angel Share. At the time that it was released, there were more and more Angel Share clones were coming onto the market. Luckily enough, nowadays Middle Eastern brands have seems to lost interest a little bit in Angel Share, and there aren't that many new clones of Angel Share. But Raw Blend, the original Raw Blend, to this day, in my opinion, remains probably one of the very best, if not the best, Middle Eastern clone of Angel Share. Scent-wise, it smells very similar to the original fragrance. You get this very nice, very boozy opening with a strong cognac note, with a bit of fruity sweetness, with a lot of other sweetness. There's some cinnamon in here. The dry down remains very sweet, remains a little bit woody. There's some sandalwood used in this fragrance. You still get hints of that boozy opening, and also you still get a lot of sweetness. Vanilla sweetness, tonka bean sweetness, the plum is here. All around, this is a sweet, boozy fragrance that's a crowd pleaser and that has been very popular. The scent profile has been super popular in the past couple of years. Quality is superb, performance is superb. It comes really nicely packaged. All four of them actually come really nicely packaged, and this was a great start for this line. The other one, Raw Blend Nero, this one smells a lot like Latafa Hamra, or you can think of this one being a clone of Sava from Giza. So in a way, it's similar to Raw Blend, to the OG Raw Blend, but this one doesn't have booziness in it, and it has more sweetness. Basically, take the Angel Share scent profile, remove the booziness in it, and just add more sweetness. That's what Raw Blend Nero is all about. Smells very similar to Giza, smells very similar to Sava, smells very similar to Latafa Hamra, but this is like Latafa Hamra on steroids. Basically, this is a super strong fragrance that lasts for a very long time. The OG Raw Blend is a good performer, but the Raw Blend Nero just takes things to the next level. This is a beast of a fragrance that lasts over 10 hours on skin, will last for days on clothes, and it will project like crazy. And it's also a great fragrance as long as you can tolerate very sweet scents. If you do, Raw Blend Nero is actually a great fragrance. And now let's move on to the new fragrances. The two new fragrances in this line that got released in the past couple of months, Raw Blend Vintage and Raw Blend Bourbon. Now, before I talk about them, since I said that all four fragrances come really nicely packaged, this is basically the box of them. Now, this is the box of Raw Blend Bourbon, but basically all of the boxes have pretty much the same design, apart from some different color combinations. It's a very high quality, very sturdy looking cardboard box that definitely looks very nice, and it's a good collector's piece. And now let's talk about Raw Blend Vintage. Now, just like the other two fragrances that I talked about so far, Raw Blend Vintage is also a clone, but this one is a clone of Kilian's Old Fashioned. The original fragrance is a very interesting scent that I personally cannot say that I like very much, and the same can be said about Raw Blend Vintage as well. Now, the problem that I have with the original fragrance and this one is that There's an interesting combination here that combines again some boozy notes, quite a strong boozy note, but that's combined with some fruity sweetness, some ambery sweetness, and quite a bit of a green feel, a green vibe. I think there's a Davana note that's being used in raw blend vintage, and that combination, I can't say that it's very much up to my liking, especially in the opening. Once a few minutes pass, this actually settles down, that greenness goes away a little bit, and it becomes a lot more easier to wear, at least for in my personal opinion, but the opening can be a bit challenging. This on its own is a pretty decent clone of Old Fashioned, so if you are familiar with the original fragrance and you like it, you'll probably end up liking raw blend vintage as well. Personally, again, I'm not a huge fan, although I can say that Fragrance World and French Avenue have done a good job with the scent itself. Another point where this didn't exactly live up to my expectations was the performance, especially the longevity. Projection wise, especially in the first about 1 hour, this projects really nicely, but the total longevity that I'm getting out of this fragrance is probably around about 7 to maximum 7.5, 8 hours, but definitely this was a bit of disappointing when it comes to performance, especially compared to the other two fragrances, the original Raw Blend and Raw Blend Nero. And now let's move on to the last, I think the newest fragrance in this line, which is called Raw Blend Bourbon. Now some people claim that this is a clone of Angel Share Paradis, which is a brand, somewhat of a new release from the brand of Kilian. I've never tried the original, so I cannot say that whether this is actually close to that one or not. Also, this in a way may be somewhat reminiscent to Old Fashioned, just like vintages, but I think vintage is closer to Old Fashioned. This is in a way similar because it still has some greenness, it has some freshness, it has a strong boozy note, but I think this is quite different at the same time, although it may carry some such vibes as Old Fashioned as well. This one, as a scent on its own, is actually very unique. The opening again is very boozy. There's a strong whiskey note with this fragrance, but there's some cinnamon, a hint of mintiness, but this also has a lot of sweetness, a lot of chocolatey sweetness. And I said this in my review of this fragrance, but basically this reminds me of like taking a chocolate cookie and soaking it into a glass of whiskey, and that's pretty much what I get out of especially the opening of this fragrance, which is a very unique, very interesting mix between the sweet notes, the spiciness of the cinnamon, the strong whiskey note, and a hint of that minty freshness. When this settles down and goes into the dry down, you lose some of that spiciness, you lose that strong whiskey note, at least somewhat. It's still present, but not as strong. You also start to lose some of that intense sweetness from the opening, and the dry down is more about the woodiness with this fragrance. I think there's an oak note that's been used with this one, and it's quite a woody note on woody fragrance on its dry down, which with still a bit of sweetness and a bit of spiciness and a bit of booziness. All around a very interesting scent, quite unique, and definitely not a safe blind buy, just like vintage as well. Bourbon and vintage are probably the two more challenging scents in the whole line. Performance wise, as I said in my review, I've been getting about 7 to 8 hours of performance. The initial projection is very strong. It's a very loud fragrance in the first maybe half an hour up to an hour. After that it starts to sit closer to the skin, so it's not a beast, definitely not as strong as the first two fragrances, but it's not a bad performing scent either. And again, this is a little bit on the challenging side scent-wise. And at the end of the video, just to quickly summarize all four fragrances in this line. If you're looking for a great clone of Angel Share, then definitely you should consider checking out the original Raw Blend, because I think it's one of the best clones of Angel Share that you can get. If you like Latafa Hamra, if you like sweet, spicy fragrances that have a bit of an oriental, a bit of a Middle Eastern touch, and you really like sweet scents and you like beastly performing fragrances, definitely you should consider checking out a Raw Blend Nero. And the two new ones, Vintage and Bourbon, are for those of you who like a strong boozy note in their fragrances. If you're not afraid to wear something really boozy and loud in the first in the opening of the fragrance, the first 30 minutes to 1 hour. Both of them on their own right are not a bad scents. But definitely those are the two more challenging ones. Those are the two that I definitely would advise you to try to sample or try before you actually buy a full bottle. And with that said, I'm going to at the end give you a final ranking of the 4 fragrances, the way that I've been enjoying them. For me, the best one in the line, the one that's personally the most enjoyable one, will be the original raw blend. I've said this many times before, including in this video, but I think this to this day remains one of the best clones of Angel Share that you can get. Now, for the second place, it's going to be a tie. When I originally received my bottle of bourbon and I tried it for the first time, I wasn't really a huge fan, to be honest, but after I gave it some more wearings, it started to grow on me. And right now, if I have to put a second place, a fragrance that goes into second place, I would share the second place between Raw Blend Nero and Raw Blend Bourbon. Raw Blend Nero because it's an enjoyable fragrance that's easy to wear for sweet lovers out there, and because it has absolutely beastly performance. And Raw Blend Bourbon for the fact that it has a very unique scent profile that I actually have started to enjoy more and more the more I wear this one. And coming in last position when it comes to my personal preferences will be Raw Blend Vintage, because of that greenness in the opening, because of that combination of the green notes, the you know, the boozy notes, the bit of the sweetness and spiciness that it has. Just that added green note ruins a little bit the experience for me. On the dry down, it's not a bad scent, but that's the least enjoyable one in the whole lineup for me. So guys, in today's video I tried to quickly go over the complete raw blend line from the brand of French Avenue and try to quickly help you choosing the right one for you. I hope that you found this video interesting or helpful. If you did, give it a like. And I also hope that you're going to join me tomorrow for your daily dose of some fragrance content. And until then, stay safe and bye bye.